It's the Premium Pete Show.
Internets, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Sitting here with one of the Bay Area's finest, man. Wait, hold up. Before you even say anything, okay? I'm gonna call you a cannabis. I want to say guru, but I even want to say like a cannabis capo, okay, or a cannabis boss.
I like that a lot.
An artist,
yeah,
an entrepreneur,
mogul.
A father. Mogul, look at that thing.
Yeah, mogul.
Internet's Berner's in the building. Berner, man, thanks for stopping by, man.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man. For real.
You know, before we even came on, we were talking, and it's funny, like, we were talking about, like, accent, and I was telling you that, I'm Italian, but I grew up in Coney Island. I'm not one of those fist pumper Guido type dudes, but and you were mentioning about that sometimes you wish you were from New York because what?
My favorite movies, being Bronx Tale and Goodfellas, and because I'm real into the mafia lifestyle, and I just love the way the guys talk out here. You know what I'm saying? And actually getting high with like New York stoners, like their accents just trip me out. Like when they emphasize the way they feel a lot through their accents. So as a kid, watching those movies, I always kind of wish I was out here and shit.
You know what's crazy? I never realized I had an accent until I moved out to Jersey, or even when two times. When I went on vacation, and I remember a girl saying like, "Damn, I love your accent." I was in like Dominican Republic, and she was like a European girl. And I was like, and I exactly answered like, what fucking accent? And she was like, right there. And I never knew. And then even being from like, being in Jersey now, people, they're like, oh, you're from New York, right? And I'm like, damn, I never knew that was like an accent.
It's real. It's a real accent. Me and my boys practice it a lot. We always, like I said, wish we was from the NY, but it's an interesting accent, and it's very strong. If you never realized it, if you came to California, you'd realize it real quick.
What's a Bay Area? Like, what's a Bay Area accent? Like, what is that about? If you had to say one.
Well, Bay Area accent would be more slang. Like, they'd say a lot of "you feel me," hella, I'm talking about, you know what I mean? They talk real quick. They use their hand gestures a lot. People use, oh, why you move your hands like that when you talk? And it's just the Bay Area is more body language, not an accent.
Now, for people listening who may not even know who Berner is, I'm going to take them back for a second.
Please.
You were born in the Bay Area?
San Francisco, yeah.
Okay. Which I was saying has the best food.
Especially Thai food.
Okay, Internet, so you see that. So when you go to San Francisco, you make sure you go visit Cookies. We'll get into that, but you also make sure you get some Thai food. There's a Cookies in San Francisco, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get into that in a second. So you grow up mom and dad?
Yeah, mom and dad. Actually in a suburb next to San Francisco called Daly City. And my dad's restaurant was in the city.
What type of restaurant?
Mexican restaurant.
Okay, nice. So you're Mexican?
Yeah, Mexican and Italian.
Okay, nice. Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. You know what I mean? What could I fucking say?
Somebody sent me a picture the other day of Mexican lasagna. I was like, oh, easy.
That could be real great.
Yeah. or that could be real bad.
It could be great coming in and bad coming out.
So Pops owned the restaurant.
Yeah, Pops owned a restaurant, and growing up as a kid, it was really cool because I was in Daly City, but would travel to the city with Pops and be able to experience his restaurant and be in the city. It was right in the heart of the city too. And we were in Daly City until about 5th grade, and then in 6th grade, Pops was supposed to open up a restaurant in Arizona, and me and my mom had traveled ahead, and she had caught him cheating back home, and he didn't end up coming. So we stayed in Arizona 6th grade. And from 6th grade till my senior year in high school, where I ended up dropping out, I would get in trouble, and I would go back and forth from AZ to Frisco. And
you mean staying with your mom and dad?
Yeah, so I would be, I had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade all in Arizona. And I learned a lot of bad things out there. Arizona is not the place that people paint it to be.
What would you say you learned?
I learned the drug game in Arizona at a young age, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, learning about that shit. I come from the Bay Area. People were, oh, you're from San Francisco. Are you gay? All the gays are out there. And just, it was weird. It was like a very judgmental, weird place after coming from San Francisco. You know what I mean? But I hung around some kids that, a lot of Latins in Arizona. And, you know, it's right there by Tucson, which is right by Mexico. And Arizona's one of the biggest drug hubs in the world. So I learned a lot of shit young. I learned it in Arizona. And when I got into 9th grade, 10th grade, right around 10th grade, I started getting in trouble in Arizona because of what I was learning. And I was sent back to stay with my pops. And it was just like, you know, mom and pops ran 2 different households. So when I was with my mom, you know, I had a lot more eyes on me. Even though I was getting in trouble and experimenting with drugs and selling drugs and doing whatever I was doing at that age, you know, she ran a strong household. And then when I ended up getting sent to the Bay Area, my mom was finally like, I've had it. You're a knucklehead. You need to go stay with your dad. It was the craziest shit ever.
You know, what do moms do?
Mom was a headhunter.
Okay, really?
So like her job would be like a big company to say, I want a 25-year-old Latin American from this area with this amount of experience to come.
You mean like job headhunter?
Yeah,
okay,
she had her
damn,
own company. She worked
I
for
thought she was
herself.
whacking people out, you know?
Nah, maybe on the side time, you know what I mean? But she was definitely good at it, and I learned. That's why I think now that I look back at it, and I got the tattoo of Mom's, rest in peace, on my arm.
Peace.
With her on the phone. I watched her talk to people she never met and make them fall in love with her in a way that they would trust that this job, you know, switch or this lifestyle that she's convincing people to move from different places wasn't, you know, it was a very strong talent to be able to get on the phone with somebody and get them to catch your vibe and to trust, your whole pitch, and to get someone to switch their lifestyle, their job, and where they live is pretty crazy.
You know, one of the hardest things for a lot of people to do is grow up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy because I feel like you carry yourself like you've been here and you've been there. You know, and where do you even think that even stems from? You know,
I think that like when my mom got sick, and I played like I did the hospice thing with her, and I watched her, you know, pass away in front of me, and from something like cancer, it made me really open up my eyes to the world and what the world's all about. And, you know, I'm a big conspiracy guy, and started thinking that like life is very short and you got to experience this, and the extra hanging out shit and the drinking and the partying and all the shit I might have been a part of is just all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And when my mom passed away, my kid was 3. And a big eye-opener for me as an adult to be like, okay, well, she's gone. The only other person that could take care of my daughter or raise her the way I would, with the love I would give her, would be my mom. And if she's gone, then I got to step up to the plate and never jeopardize my freedom, or, you know, and I have to put myself in a position to take care of my family without the other shit. So I think I just kind of grew up fast when that happened. But I've always worked, man. I got my first job at 13 and lied about how old I was. My first job was at a place called Oscars. It was like kind of like a pizza type place. I was passing out breadsticks in front of the movie theater, and then I got moved to a bus boy. I got employee of the month. I was making all kind of tips as a bus boy. You know what I'm saying? And they found out my age and had to let me go. They're like, man, you're employee of the month. You know, you're killing it, but we gotta let you go. I'm like, all right. I went and lied and got another job. I actually never really, I don't think I ever said this on any interview, but I went to Wendy's.
really.
Lied about my age and worked there because they had a sign-up bonus. And I always just liked to work, man. And I had a bunch of random jobs, actually. Young, though.
What were you doing with the money?
Buying weed.
At that age?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, what you say?
Putting it all into weed.
Just like, or selling it? Like, or smoking it too?
Well, see, when you're at that age and you're innocent and you're young, you're selling weed just to be able to smoke for free.
I get it.
That's at that age, that's what I was doing it for.
I remember doing some of that shit. Thank God I didn't do the next shit that I got involved in, or else I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, nah, I feel that other shit's dark too.
You know, you speak about mom and you speak about dad and all the jobs that you had, you know, and like I said, you know, you speak about like you've been here, like you carry yourself like you belong, you know what I mean?
Right on.
And that, you know, you have some history and years behind you. You know, when did you even get put on to weed? Like, was it Arizona, or when's the first time you ever smoked weed?
So in Arizona, my friends' brothers were all like, I wouldn't say cartel, but like Mexican bosses,
Okay.
low riders, gold, motherfucking big weed
Vato
bales.
locos.
Yeah, and in Arizona, people are buying weed by the bale. So like, you'd have whole rooms full of weed, and as young kids, we just go pull it off the block of the bale. We go pull off a fucking chunk, put it in the shower room, like in the bathroom, trying to shower, and then would like kind of like come apart. It would just kind of like it was so compressed or whatnot. First time I tried it was in Arizona, with my boys, and we rolled it up in a Walgreens receipt. We didn't know what papers were and nothing. And we smoked that shit. And I was like, I don't feel it, man. I want more. So we smoked another one, and then we like, man, I don't really feel it. And then we ate like regular weed just by itself. And first time was in 6th grade in Arizona. Yeah.
What did you feel? Did you feel like stoned, hungry?
Well, we went to Burger King, and I got 3 Whoppers, and I got French fries, and I put sugar in my ketchup, so I was definitely stoned. Everyone was like, what are you doing putting sugar in the ketchup? I'm like, I don't know, but this shit is bomb. It's like salty and sweet at the same time.
Do you think that weed, obviously it's stronger now, but when you smoked back then, do you still get that same type of high today, or is it different?
In different environments. So if like I'm somewhere I'm not comfortable, or I just got there, a different city or state, if I hit the weed, it might give me like that uncomfortable, like first like time I smoke really, really good weed type high, but yeah, otherwise.
Somebody like me, it's funny, like, I smoked, I haven't smoked, well, I did smoke twice in the past, like, say, 20 years. But it's funny because I stopped smoking weed when I was 18. I started when I was 13. And I loved it smoking back then. This is many years ago, but, I got high. I remember making getting the munchies. I was laughing. I remember making biscuits, like the Pillsbury biscuits, and putting them in the toaster oven and melting them cheese, like yellow American cheese, with a little bit of butter.
Oh,
and it was the best thing in the world. When I went and smoked later on, I was paranoid, and I started bugging out. And people didn't understand. Like I remember the I'll never forget. Rest in peace, my brother Sean Price.
Rest in peace, Sean Price, too.
Sean Price is funny. I remember he was messing with edibles one time in Cali. I wonder if he ever met him out there.
Well, he reached out to me before. Yeah, he wanted to get some herb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got a chance to meet him, but rest in peace.
I would have loved. He's a super G. But more importantly, I remember we went to the studio. I picked him up, and then I couldn't bring him home because I was sitting on the couch and the whole room was spinning, and I just felt uncomfortable. Do you think this why does that happen to somebody?
I mean, it happens to me, and I'm a big pothead. I smoked every day since I was in 6th grade, damn near. I mean, every day, and I think I went to the doctor before this. I used to do a lot of coke. I don't talk about it a lot, but when I was bartending at 18, I did a lot of coke, man. I did a lot of coke, and I was drinking crazy alcohol. And
is there a reason why will you do it just to get high, or you just weren't sometimes like
for the coke?
Yeah,
I was young, and the bartender scene and the restaurant business. I mean, motherfuckers party, and especially bartending. Like you're getting drunk all night, you want to balance it out. And I had salsa night. I had the Cubans putting key shots in my nose, and so it was a crazy time in life. But when I stopped doing coke is when my daughter was about to be born. I almost overdosed off that shit. And it was a big eye-opener. So I stopped doing coke. And when I stopped doing coke, I hit the weed, and it brought me back to that overdose mind state where my heart was beating. And I was like, what the fuck? And I kept on trying to smoke weed, and my tolerance was low as fuck. And I'm like, bro, I've been smoking weed every day since I was in 6th grade. So oddly enough, I went to the doctor and asked him, why is the weed making me paranoid? What the fuck happened? And the doctor said, for people that smoke weed for a long time in life, you reach a point where it gives you the complete opposite effect of what it used to give you. And it makes you paranoid, and it fucks with you. And she was a gangster for telling me this. If you just keep with it, it'll go away. It'll go back to normal. I'm like, is it like a weed midlife crisis or something? Like, what the fuck? But I get paranoid too sometimes. And I mean, fuck, it's just because the shit's strong. And I think it's because we have a lot on our mind. Like, I don't know if you seem like you're like me. You work, you're very passionate about your work. You think a lot. And so when you're younger, there's nothing to think about. Trying to get laid and have fun. But when you're older and you have real business and you have a family and you have things that really run through your mind, sometimes you smoke weed and it triggers that mind to go crazy.
You know, you speak about having a daughter, and your daughter is how old now?
She's 11.
So, you know, I have an 18-year-old and I have a 3-year-old son. You know, it's funny when you speak about, I remember, it doesn't matter where you're from in this world. I remember hustling and saying, I got to do whatever I got to do for my family, not realizing that you could leave them from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for multiple different ways. You can be killed, put in jail.
Sure.
You know, all kinds of shit. So,
You know, and it's funny how, you know, so it's like seeing you, especially you, I think there's so many things inspiring about you, but particularly that you have a legit business now.
yeah.
You know, we're going to get right into the artistry, but more importantly, you have a legit business now that at one point in time could have landed you in places you didn't want to be. And now it's like you're really, I feel like, you know, people who don't know, you know, who may not know who you are, like, I feel like you're somebody who is like really like opening many, many doors in this cannabis business.
Yeah, it's crazy to think where it's at now and the amount of freedom and stress that came. Like, I risked my freedom for a long time, and I still have flashbacks from the stress of the game because the game is shady. And it's funny because even though I'm not risking going to jail now, the stress from the legal weed game is just as bad, if not worse, than the underground.
I heard you say that. I heard you say that the legal weed game is shady also. What does that even mean for people who may not even know what you're talking about?
I mean, look, you got, first of all, you got everyone trying to recreate things that have been built organically, which are brands and strains of weed and how they got popular. People are trying to recreate that. So a lot of like, I don't want to say biting because that's in every business, but okay, how can I say this without getting myself caught up?
People just
No, like, because okay, I'm in a particular situation with a group, so let's just give an example. Let's say, hypothetically, I might have licensed something out to somebody at one point, and from licensing it to that person, they were able to build a business, they were able to gain momentum, to raise money, $60 to $100 million. Able to use everything that I brought to the table in the licensing deal, let's say if I did that way, and then when it comes time to go public or to receive a huge buyout, immediately fuck you, get you out of the contract. But not only get you out of the contract, but do things to still claim that you're involved and that this deal is with you involved, but you're not involved. And so it's a lot of mind game fuckery shit when it comes to that big bread. Also, too, you got a lot of big business people that are buying up all the licenses, buying up all the grows, and just pushing culture out. And the rat race to get to the top or to be one of the brands that's on these shelves in the future it's pretty intense. And people, they will do anything to get you out the way.
You know, I know you mentioned, you know, I heard your episode that you did on the Breakfast Club, and I thought it was dope. You know, shouts to Charlamagne and Envy and Angela. But it's funny because I was like, damn, people were like really upset that you only did about 14 minutes. I was like, okay, well, he comes on the Premium Pete Show. We're going to have to give the Berner fans, you know, some backstory of Big Burn.
I think there's a lot that motherfuckers want to hear that we didn't really get a chance to address. And it's just a lot of business, a lot of music, a lot of cool stories. And yeah, they were juiced for me to be on there, but maybe a little upset that we didn't address certain things. But I think it was great.
Yeah, it was definitely great. I enjoyed it, and I think that it's good that people want more. Trust me.
That's all I kept saying.
It's good that people want more.
I was telling Steve LaBelle, I said, the fact that all these comments are saying why only 14 minutes was a great sign. I'm like, damn, they want to hear from you, boy, you know?
Let me tell you, that is like some like unplanned promotion. Like,
it's actually... And I wonder if like producers see that shit, or if they're like, damn, that this one guy that we knew nothing about, and I did no post or nothing about, go to their page, or just organic people I didn't even knew who I am, are up there like, what the fuck, we want to hear more. I was like, oh, this shit's tight.
Well, next time they come back on, give them that more time. But more importantly, I love what you said on there about there's a program, and we're talking about risking our life. We're talking about being there for our kids. And you have a program that's what's dope. So you have multiple shops, or what are they called out there?
Dispensaries.
Dispensaries, right?
Yeah.
But more importantly, what you're doing for the community, or what you could do for people who've been locked up because of it.
Yeah.
Explain to them that.
So basically, and my bad for the sniffle and the little cough.
That's so good.
I got me a little kizzo, but you know we don't stop working no matter what. But basically, picture this. You want to open up a store in, let's say, Queens.
Okay.
And the people will pass a law that if you're going to open up a store in this neighborhood, then you got to grab people that have been convicted of a crime and make them your partner. They got to be on your license. They have to be your partner in this store, this grow. It's called an equity program. And they have that in the Bay Area, in California, and in Los Angeles. And so basically, most of these bigger companies are coming into these neighborhoods and they're looking at it as a publicity stunt. They're grabbing these people to get the licenses because they need the licenses. But they're short stopping the fuck out of them. So they'll be like, yo, here's $1,000 a month. Or here's $25,000. Let me put your name on this license. And what I've been trying to preach is, fuck that. Take your equity. You know, take your equity. Really, 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 really take advantage of you being a partnership in a cannabis company, because one day these things are going to be, you know, there's only going to be so many of them. But then I took it a step further. And my friend Felix from Gas House, he has a company called Gas House. He's from Atlanta. I think it's one of the first, it is one of the first reputable, fully black-owned and staffed cannabis companies. And he was asking me for advice, like, Bern, like, what should I do? I don't want to put myself in that box. And I said, nah, dog, you need to embrace that box. And more importantly, I plan on rolling up a bunch of companies with cookies to create a portfolio company that could be, you know, invested in heavily and be that one, that big ass company. I said, if I get involved in Gas House, here's what I want to do. I want to take some money. I want to take this building in Oakland you have at your hands. I want to get those big ass shipping containers that you see on the boats. And I want to find people in Oakland where that's where his business is, and the Bay Area that qualify for the equity program. And I want to put them in these shipping containers, and I want to build out a grow, and I want to find them genetics that they can grow, and I want to help them build their brand. So everything from providing the grow space, providing the plants to grow, providing the knowledge on, you know, trademarking your logo and packaging, manufacturing, distribution, all that shit. I want to be able to do these for these brands because no one else is going to do it. Everyone else is going to take advantage of them. And the reason why I feel like so passionate about it is because I could have been one of them.
Sure.
I could have been in jail. I've been fortunate not to be in jail yet. I've never been in jail. Don't ever plan on going to jail. But for this business, it's important to keep people that risk their freedom or already got caught up doing it, because that's the only reason why weed is popular.
Sure.
If motherfuckers weren't sending packs out of town, or if cats weren't selling weed, then there would never be this demand for weed, and therefore weed wouldn't be legal.
You know, I forgot who said it, but I had someone on here that said it's crazy how we're sitting in, like, you know, if you say 80s was a crack era, right? Especially in New York City. But if you say 80s, like, right now, it has to be the biggest, biggest times and moments for weed. Like, meaning, like, it's getting legalized everywhere. Almost everyone smokes. It's not shamed upon, like, how sometimes it was. To me, you're, like, on the forefront of this.
It's not even just weed. It's like prohibition was the only other thing to compare to, where you're living in a society where something has been outlawed and it's illegal, and now it's becoming legal and it's happening in front of us and it's going state by state, and it's crazy as fuck. Like, when does that ever happen? Like, it's crazy.
You know, when you were growing up in the Bay Area, were you listening to New York artists or Bay Area artists? Like, who were you listening to? Because, you know, obviously for people who don't know, which is crazy, we'll get into, you got 31 albums. I don't even know what the fuck that means. How someone can have 31 albums.
Yeah.
But I listen to your shit and I like it. And it's funny, when we were walking in here, I was like, oh, I'm sure because you're an entrepreneur and a business guy, sometimes people may not even take you serious, music serious. They don't
even want to take the time to look into it. They look at me like, oh, he's just a weed guy. This motherfucker just sells weed. They just want to be around him for the weed. Not true. I'm a fan of music, and the reason why I make music is because I'm a fan. And I don't need the music. I don't need it. I just do it because I love it.
Sure.
And I feel like anytime you do something you're passionate about, it'll be tight. And so I've created a really dope lane with it, and I used a lot of the Bay Area influence that I grew up listening to. You know what I'm saying? 3 Times Crazy. Mac Dre, Mac Mall, JT the Bigger Figure, the Jacka, San Quinn, rapping Forte, a lot of that Bay Area mob shit. I keep that influence in my music today. But I also listen to a lot of East Coast artists too, and just was a fan of just hip hop in general. And I get a kick out of like putting artists I grew up listening to on the type of beats, bringing them to my world. That sample driven.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just tight.
What is Berner? Like, where's that come from?
Graffiti.
Okay, graph.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I used to tag. Nah, I can't do like your last pieces.
Berner 1?
Just Berner Oneer. We used to put the ER.
ER.
Yeah. Berner though, just Berner by itself. You know, I was with a couple crews in the band.
Krylon, Rust-Oleum.
I like to scribe. I like the streakers. I like my spray can game was
Fat
okay.
Cap?
Fat Cap for sure. I could work the Fat Cap real nice, but I was one of them dudes that used them ultras and the ultra mini. I always hit the rooftop. I'd be the one having enough balls to put the big old B, the E, the walk down is what we call it. On each little block of the bus, I'd have a big ass letter. So I got to rush out of that back in the days.
You know, your first time, now, was that your name, Berner? Was that straight up what it was, like always, or you had like a couple names beforehand?
Oh, man, you're going to get the exclusive because you're asking good questions. So my first name was Burst. Burst was the because I like the way the B and the U and the R and the S and the T flowed. And my homie's name was Berner. And he was like from Hunters Point, which is like a crazy neighborhood in San Francisco. And he was going through some crazy times. The kid would show up drunk to school and be fighting and stealing and, you know, just wilding out hard. And he got saved and became Christian. And I was like, look, I'm going to retire the Berner name. I said, well, he said, I'm not doing the graph no more. I'm not smoking or drinking. I said, well, what about the Berner name? That's the hardest name ever. I said, I'm cool. I said, can I pick it up? He's like, man, as long as you don't get yourself in trouble. And, you know, he was preaching to me. He was real, you know, religious at the time. So I said, fuck it, Burst sounded whack. Well, I'm running with Berner. And it just that's how I got the name, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think I've ever told anybody that.
That's crazy. Is he still around?
I heard that he's around. I haven't seen from him or heard from him, but shout out to my boy David, man. I was in one of those programs at school where it's called what was it called? Go Ape. It was when you're fucking up in school so bad, they put you with a bunch of troubled kids, and you learn how to communicate and how to work more than you do about regular school shit. So I was in that program with him, and it was really interesting. They take 10 inner city kids or 20 inner city kids, and they put them in a group, and they say, listen, you guys are going to go camping for a week, and you have to design your menu for your food and what you're going to need, and you guys can take the time during these class hours to do so, or you can fuck off, but you're going to be the ones paying the price when you go on this camping trip. No one took it seriously, really. I mean, I came up with my recipe. So these kids that from rival neighborhoods and different nationalities and different genres and whatnot all go on this camping trip together. And you have to cook for yourselves. You have to walk X amount of miles a day. We're inner city cats. And it was probably one of the craziest experiences of my life. Because on day 2... or day 3 it was, out of 7, all we had was pita bread and peach jelly. That was it.
Like you in the box in jail.
And it was crazy because, you know, motherfuckers weren't used to the outdoor life. You had to take a shit and wipe your ass with leaves and fucking, you know, there was someone shadowing the group while we moved, but we had a map and we had the end goal and a start. So you start here, you got to end up here. Here's your trails, here's your map, get as far as you can every day. And that shit was really interesting to me, of just about like learning how to vibe with people. And, you know, I had the only successful meal, by the way.
Which was?
I brought some white rice, and my meal was the second day, so I brought some vegetables, and my dad gave me some teriyaki sauce. So I just had a little pan I put over the fire, hit the vegetables on the pan with that teriyaki real quick, and put over some white rice that I made, and that was the hit of the trip. But, you know, learning how to work with them kids and everything was real trippy, and David was in that group. So, you know, that's my homie Berner. And ever since there, man, when he told me he was such a cool kid, I was like, man, fuck, I'm going to keep this shit alive, dude. So,
hey, listen, you kept your word.
Yeah.
You kept your word. Yo, speaking of your pops, man, how's your relationship with pops, man?
It's cool. So my dad's a cool cat. He's always been cool, but he when he was growing up, he was in a boys' home, so he didn't have a dad. And he never really knew how to be a dad to me when I was younger. And, when I was living with them, that's why I said earlier when we were talking, when I moved from mom's house to dad's house as a kid, it was different. Pops had a studio apartment above the restaurant, no cable, no phone. Fucking all we had was one movie in the house on a VHS, which was Goodfellas.
Forget him. He's I love him already.
Yeah, and restaurant life. He wasn't around. We'd call him like, we're hungry. Go across the street to Curbside Cafe. They'll give you something. All right, cool. We're hungry. Uncle Dino downstairs was seeing some food up. So the apartment was on top of, we're in New York. You know how it is. There's restaurants in the neighborhood. The whole neighborhood took care of us. But when I would start ditching school, there was no landline for them to call and tell. Motherfucker wasn't checking no mailbox or nothing like that. So it was a big drastic change. Pops wasn't really in my life until my mom died. And when she passed away, he was just some crazy Panamanian bitch. And I call her bitch because that bitch was a bitch. But I called her one time. I called my dad and she answered. She's like, what do you want? I'm like, well, my daughter Janelle hurt herself at the park. I wanted to let my dad know. Well, he's busy. I'm like, man, can you please pass on the phone? She goes, fuck you. I'm glad your mom died, motherfucker. And he's not going to call you. And I heard him in the background talking shit to her. I texted him. I said, listen, this is the now or never moment. Like, either you ditch this dumbass bitch and you come be with your family and pay attention to what we got going on, or I'm cool off you. And he made that switch, and he now lives with me. And is the best grandpa ever and the best dad ever. And I think that, like, he came into my life when I needed the most because I was hurting after mom's died. I was a real mama's boy, like, really, really, really close. And so the fact that he's a good dad now and that he lives with me at the crib, and my daughter's always asking where he is and when's he coming home. He's a chef, makes her favorite meals, and is good with my fiance. I'm like, this shit's dope.
You know what's crazy about that shit? That sometimes, like, you look at their fathers. Like, sometimes I look at my father, like, he didn't have a father that really, like, knew how to be a father. So when you say that, I understand that shit hits home for me. But, it's like, one thing I love is that I hear is that sometimes people who couldn't be the best fathers wind up being the best grandfathers.
Yeah, and coming in late in the game. Like, fuck, I mean, my dad, like, and this sounds selfish, but, like, after watching my mom die, I was scared as fuck to get to know my dad. I mean, I knew him. This is my dad. I've known him my whole life, but I wasn't close. I was like, damn, I don't want to get close to him and have to go do this again. But I'm so glad I did because it's a beautiful relationship for sure.
I love hearing it, man. Let me tell you something. You know what? Let's take a quick break, man. There's so much to go over. Before we even go to break, I'm gonna leave the internet. But I love this number that you gave, that you put $19,000 into cookies.
Yeah.
And last year you guys made about what, $12.5 million?
12.8.
Okay, excuse me. Listen, that's an inspiration story for anybody coming up, that they could do whatever they want.
And no knowledge of clothing, fashion, no high school education, just honestly a vision and a Hail Mary investment.
And good people around you.
Yeah.
Listen, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Hopefully Steve LaBelle don't have me on Scott Storch time and gives you a little bit more time to chop it up with me. But
nah, we good. I smoked a big fatty before we came in here, so I'm feeling right.
Okay, there it is. Internet, we're sitting here with the one and only, the Cannabis Capo, the John Gotti of weed, okay?
Yes, the boss.
Berner. Be right back. Cheers. Internet, and we're back sitting here with Berner, man. Burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby.
We spoke about, before we went to break, we spoke about how you put money in investment, a $19,000 investment, where now, the brand, now just for people listening, the brand is, so the stores, like the dispensaries, are called Cookies, right? Yeah,
so the dispensaries are called Cookies and the clothing line is called Cookies. Two different businesses. One is just, only for the plant, for the herb. Another is like lifestyle clothing brand, but my bad. What made us popular was the accessories and the trinkets, the proprietary rolling tray, and the little 3-divider like bento box for weed for the.
And those are called Cookies, right? That's the brand is called.
Yeah, brand is called Cookies. Smell-proof bags, all that stuff.
And people need to be in the dispensary, or they could go online and order shit like that.
Oh nah, we're in all the Zoomies stores.
Really?
All 600 Zoomies. We're in over 1,000 doors total. We're online. We got 2 flagship stores. I mean, the clothing line's going crazy.
Where's the stores located?
San Francisco on Haight Street, right on Haight and Ashbury, and then Seattle, kind of by Pike's Place, on 2nd and Blanchard, right by Belltown.
Any more planned to be open?
You know, LA is about to open up. We have a dispensary opened up in LA, another one, and we're going to put a clothing store there. And I would love to do Cookies NYC. We've been looking at it. We've been trying to figure it out. We've been trying to gauge if there's an audience for it here. But I feel like New York needs a flagship clothing store. And I think it would like help introduce the brand to NY and prepare for that dispensary. The dispensary is coming soon because I want to be out here for sure.
I think when that happens, you know, for New York, it's going to be tremendous, you know?
Well, you guys already been programmed with the delivery dudes on the bikes. And I mean, New York is, I mean, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. And you guys are up on the waves of, you know, Cali branded herb. And I mean, shit could be cracking out here.
You know, you spoke about the clothing line, you know, and I've seen it around. Cookies, I've seen cookie crew necks. I think I've seen cookie tees. You know, what did you know about, like, you know, the clothing business?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
See, that's even more amazing.
I knew nothing about it. I started out with T-shirts, but, you know, I'm a big dude, and I could only fit in a few brands. So my whole thing was like, look, I want to do clothing that I could rock. Like, I want zip-up jackets. I want, like, bomber jackets. I want, you know, all kind of, like, dope-ass. I want everything. We came out with a dope cutting, so. And for those that know about streetwear or streetwear brands, know that cut and sew is not cheap.
Sure.
And it's not easy, and there's no profit margins in it. But we did it just to make sure we're a dope-ass brand. Like, Cookies got to have that shit.
You know, you speak about, you know, not knowing something, right? Even in the weed business, right? You know, or what's the correct name for what do you call it?
I call it the game, but you know, marijuana business, weed business.
Even in the marijuana business, you know, it's like, how hard is it to, like, say you know, navigate when you don't know everything, you know? Because now it's like you look back and you're smarter and smarter and smarter. But in the beginning, did you feel like, you know, like, damn, like, you know, maybe I don't belong here, or I don't know, you know, something that the next person don't know, you know what I mean?
The only thing I think I fucked up on was by trusting people too much and licensing out my shit. So, you know, you license out your strain and you enable someone to grow it. And you license out your logo and your name and your likeliness to somebody because you're getting a brown bag every month, not knowing that person could build something so big with that and you not be a part of it. That's the only thing I think that I didn't know about, was that you want to try to own your own shit. I should have treated it like music. I should own my own catalog. I should have built from the ground up. But, you know, there's pros and cons. At least people were able to see my brand in stores and be able to see, like, the quality of product being grown from our genetics and whatnot. So, you know, with pros comes cons. So that's the only thing I didn't really know about, was the licensing aspect. But now I know it, and I completely mastered it. And I've been giving a lot of people advice and shit, moving mean on my own too with it now.
It's honestly, it's amazing. But when you think about even like working with music, right, and all the artists that you collabed with, right? Now we spoke about that you have 31 albums. How were you dropping fucking? How did this happen to have 31 albums?
Shit, bro. I just worked hard, and you know, being a Latin rapper is not easy.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning just that, like, people don't know how to define you. They don't know. I was once told for radio in the Bay Area, I was not black enough for 106 KMEL. I was not Latin enough for 94.9. I said, well, what the fuck does that mean? I'm a person. I make music. I sell out shows with 8,700 people in the city. Like, y'all ain't recognizing me. At least shout out my album when it comes out, or at least come bring me up and talk about some of the moves I've been making. It's crazy. So being a Latin artist, it's not easy, you know? I mean, especially a rapper. It's not easy. I'm not your typical stereotypical Latin artist. They stereotype Latin artists. So stocks up to the knees,
Sure.
bald heads,
Sure.
you know, vato loco. I'm a urban.
My bad for saying that for before.
Oh yeah, nah.
No, I'm playing around. I'm just saying.
But you know, but that they portray you and they want you to be a certain look, and that's not. I'm just a Latin kid, man, with you know, more urban. But I worked extra hard to get these albums done and to be noticed, and I used the group project method real to my advantage. So, you know, me and Jacka got 3 albums, rest in peace, and me and Be Real got 3 albums, rest in peace.
Legendary.
Me and Pacino got 2 albums. That's 8 right there. You know what I'm saying? Me and Styles P got one. That's 9. You know, I did one 2 with Messy Marv. That's 11. And then, you know, I did about 5 or 7 solos before I did, you know, this and did that. And so the group album thing really makes it, you move. You know, me and Cameron got a project. So, you know, you just...
Is that dropping?
It's out.
Okay.
Yeah, Contraband with me and Cameron came out in 2014 or 15, I think.
So you put me on and somebody else on. What about what about Kevin Gates? I heard you have an album with him, possibly.
Yeah, so not all the way confirmed, but you know, Gates reached out to me for the Light Show record. Well, not for the record. He reached out to link up, and then naturally came that record. And then we were on FaceTime the other day. He said, "Burn, like I fuck with you. You got a certain vibe to you." And you know, I haven't looked back at the record we made or looked at the response, but I know the vibe is there, and I want to do a 5-song EP with you. We're gonna knock that shit out. And I'm like, damn, that'd be fucking dope.
That boy Kevin Gates. When's the first time you met Wiz Khalifa?
I think I met him in 2009. I think. Yeah.
Man, where'd you meet him?
Cannabis Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all just hit it off and became friends, or?
Yeah, Mr. Fab hit me up, told me Wiz wanted to roll through, and I wasn't too familiar on him. And I said, cool, yeah, I'm coming through. I ain't tripping. You know, I'll hook him up. And he came through, and the first thing he said is like, I hope you're smoking. I'm like, yes, actually a weed lounge in a club. Well, I hope you ain't smoking no blunts. And I pulled up like a baby arm joint, big ass one. It's like, damn, okay. And we smoked, and I got him high, and you know, I really vibed with his crew. And he came back in town about a month later, and I said, yo, I want to bring something out to you, a gift. I want to bring it out on stage too. He's like, okay. And I kind of wondering what it is. And I put a like a 6-foot fully budded plant inside of a big ass U-Haul moving box. Pulled up to the Fillmore on Fillmore and Geary in San Francisco. Hopped out the U-Haul truck with a big ass box, and I was kind of popping at that time in the Bay, for sure. People honking their horns. I'm walking like waddling down the street with this big ass box, and I opened up that box. There's a blog of it. You could put maybe Berner with Khalifa.
I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it for sure.
And so I brought him a plant, and that's when he realized, like, damn, this dude's the boss. This motherfucker brought me a 6-foot plant, all this different weed, new technology. We had the vape pens before anyone ever had them. I was just bringing him things he's never seen before, and I think he fucked with it. We started vibing as homies, and as kicking it as homies, he noticed how hard I was working. So I was chilling with him in 2009, and I think I dropped 5 albums in 2009. And when I dropped this album in 2010, the White Album, I believe that's when he was featured on that song Yoko. He was like, when you gonna join the team? Like, what's up? You work hard as fuck. So I was like, I'm with it. And it's cool because I fund all my own projects. I put them all out. He supports me on every album as far as doing a dope-ass record with me. He embraces me when he has the time to, but he lets me do me, and there's no monitoring on when, how, and what I do.
For people listening who may not know who Berner is,
Yeah.
what would you say your music, like, what are you talking about?
I would feel like I preach to the streets. A lot of people glorify selling dope. A lot of people glorify, you know, the drug game and the dope game. I'm preaching to people too that could relate to me. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that sell weed, but more importantly, sell drugs and have had hard times in life. A lot of my music is storytelling that's not like the most positive or the brightest stories. You know, like it's like real struggle rap. And the thing I hear most when I'm out and about, and I hear this all the time, is you've got me through some hard ass times. I really relate to your shit. You motivate the fuck out of me. And I think that letting people see me as an artist, like start cookies in my garage and print it up and pull the strings through the hoodies and send them out from my house to, you know, showing the progress of, I documented everything and let them be a part of it. And I never act like I was too big for nobody. I think them growing with me makes people juice. So I think we speak to an audience that is, you know, neglected right now. Everyone's making this turn up club music and about whipping up a brick and, you know, I just let the trap and all this like shit that's just like super like, it sounds great. It's great music. It's going to do well. But the shit I do just hits home for a lot of people out there that's just not being catered to.
Sure. Message. The message is being delivered.
Yeah.
You know, being somebody who smokes weed, you know, and a connoisseur at smoking weed, who has been some of your heroes that you wanted to smoke with? Or have smoked with?
Yeah,
you know
definitely
what I mean?
like Be Real. I mean, like when I hooked up with Be Real from Cypress Hill, we got high as fuck. Like we got stoned and Vibed out a lot. You know, I still haven't got high with Bone yet. That's the next. Bone Thugs and Harmony's the next. I'm gonna see him.
Steve got to make that happen.
Well, we gonna see him on Saturday. We got a show together at the same spot. Of course, Currency, Snoop. Fuck, dude.
Okay, let me ask you: does anybody smoke more than Snoop?
Ooh. Randomly, Bay Area, Yuck Mouth. You know who Yuck Mouth is from the Loonies? I got 5 on it.
Okay, of course.
He smokes blunts back to fucking back. He smokes a lot. Wiz smokes a lot too. Snoop smokes a lot, but they're smoking blunts, man. Wiz smokes joints. I think that the biggest smoker I've ever got high with was Be Real.
Why you say that for?
I mean, he's smoking joints, which is just like straight to the point, and that motherfucker burns back to back to back to back to back to back. My tolerance is as high as it is because of Be Real. Yeah, that motherfucker gets high.
And Wiz too. Wiz is somebody that could smoke like crazy too.
Yeah, Wiz smokes like crazy, but you know, not to discredit my boy, my dog, but he only smokes one strain of weed. So he's comfortable with it, and his tolerance is built up to it. And you see my bag when we was, you know, in the break room. I have assortments, and each weed gets you a different feeling. So I just smoked some limoncello to bring me up a little bit, but I'm gonna smoke some gelato to bring me down. And I smoke so many different varieties that if I were to burn these with Wiz, he calls it thug weed.
Okay.
He's gonna be like going to 9-9 for sure.
So you create. So just for people listening who may not know, okay? Because a strain is what?
A strain is like a genetic. It's like it's almost like a person. You know how you have your own characteristics.
Sure.
You know, you look a certain way, you move a certain way, but you might have a brother or sister that has the same genetics, but just totally different. A strain is literally like a person.
So you're like almost like a chef because you help growing these strains and then you know making them come to life.
Yeah, I more help facilitate what we think we should breed, and I design menus, and I'm a curator and a menu master. So I got 3 brands: Cookies, Exotics, and Lemonade. And Lemonade is more of a sativa-based menu, and I went for flavor with that because
what strain is that you're talking about?
So Lemonade is the original strain,
Okay.
but the brand is now Lemonade.
Okay.
So fuck just being put in a box with just one strain. Lemonade had one of the most unique and smells and tastes. It's like a lemon diesel, like not like a Jack Herrera lemon, but a very pungent, like citrusy lemon. And long story short, I took that lemon and I crossed it with like 40 things. And so I designed a menu based off that one strain that would bring out so much characteristics in other strains. So Lemonade with the cherry pie is limoncello. You know what I'm saying? Lemon sherbet is a sorbet. Lemonade with their sunset sherbet. We have lemonade with the wedding cake. We have lemon cookies, lemon gelato. It comes out different every time. And so we design menus, man. We curate that palette. We curate for that palette for sure.
It's amazing, man. You're like a fucking caterer. You know, let me ask you something. How hard is it for an average cat that sells weed now to get legit into owning business, into the marijuana business?
It's not easy. A lot of cats are growing a lot of weed and they can't sell it. You know, people want that hyped shit, that branded shit. They want that shit that people talk about. Same like clothing and sneakers. I mean, when celebrities rock or talk about something, or when it's somewhere and that's, you know, in the influencer's hand, it's wanted. A lot of cats are selling their pounds right now for motherfucking like $1,200, $800, $900. That's unheard of. You know what I'm saying? My shit still goes for $3,600 to 4 racks. I've maintained our price this whole time. In the most competitive market in the world, without being, you know, I'm not trying to be greedy, but it's just that you got to keep the high standards. I'm not gonna live. The fuck I'm gonna do? I'm from the weed game. I'm not gonna sell no fucking pound for fucking $800.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I said it in one of my songs in 2014 or 15.
How's it go?
And I said, cats selling shit for $2. I'd rather push cream. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sell no pound for $2. Now look at this, $800, $1,200. Fuck that.
You know, your mom. When did your mom's pass away?
She passed away in 2010.
You know, were you still trying to figure out what you wanted to do at that time, or you were already kind of establishing yourself?
Nah, I knew what I wanted to do. I just wasn't like financially there to be able to do that. You know, what I'm doing now, it took a long time to get there. I was still struggling. And when I was in the game still, and, you You know, it was fucked up because I kept investing my money in music, but it's hard to take care of the family and to be a responsible man. But when you're investing all your money in music and the music wasn't really paying off, and so it's weird. But when my mom passed away, I kind of had to step away from the game because I told you my daughter was my number one priority.
Sure.
But that's when the rap money started coming in for me.
Mm.
It's weird. As soon as I had to stop, as soon as I had to walk away, and this is before all this crazy legal shit now, which is going to turn into a good amount of money, but the rap really came back full circle.
What do you mean legal shit?
Like the recreational weed business.
Oh, okay.
Because my mom died, it was still gray area, medical, feds will fucking fuck you. It wasn't legal anywhere yet. You know.
Was she concerned about what you were going to do with your life at that time?
Nah, she told me when I dropped out, she goes, look, I don't know why you dropped out. You're my son. You have a purpose here. I don't know what it is that you're gonna do, but I know whatever you're doing is for a better purpose. So I have faith in you and whatever you do, and I hope that what you're doing is just temporary for a bigger dream. And I just kept that saying. She embraced me. She was like not holding me back, and she knew that I was doing what I was doing for a reason. And you know, Mom, you're looking down. You're right, because here I am today, and you know, people are offering me hundreds of millions of dollars for my company, which would not be here if I didn't push and advocate for weed this whole time. So, smart lady.
You know, it's crazy though, but your mom's got to be, definitely proud of you, because you think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, somebody that could, create not only for themselves but other people.
Yeah.
You know, you've created jobs for other people, and also help people get through shit with your music, but also help people get through shit with your strains.
Yeah, because think about this. The dude I just blessed with that bag.
Yeah.
He's going to go somewhere tonight. He's going to roll that shit up, and it's going to impact his night. And meaning, like, when he smokes my herb that we put on the market, he's either going to go have dinner or chill. His mood is going to be affected by that, which means we're a part of someone's life without even being a part of their life. That's pretty trippy when you think about it. You know, weed opens up your mind. It makes you feel good. You might use it when you're stressed. You might use it to get happy. You might use it to work out. You might use it to make music or get creative. You might use it to unwind after your day. But point being is it's a part of your day. It's a part of your life. So shit goes deeper than people really understand.
Mm. What's next for Berner, man?
I want to get into film bad.
Is it true you wrote a screenplay or something like that?
Yeah. You ever heard of that movie Imperium?
Mm-hmm.
So the writer and director from Imperium, which for people that might not know listening, it was the main character from Harry Potter played a federal informant in the neo-Nazi game. We wrote a movie called PAX, and PAX to me is blow mixed with dead presidents mixed with belly, and that's about the rise of designer weed in all these markets like New York, Virginia, Houston, Atlanta, whatnot. When this California weed was hitting these states, it was like coke money, the margins, and it's based on a true story, and it's some real underground, gritty, D-boy, Bay Area shit. Dope.
You know, what's if you had to think about it, what would you say is like one of the most difficult decisions you had to make to get here?
Sacrificing time with my kid and my family. You know, knowing that every time I leave, my kid gets really sad, and you know, she's just going through it when I'm not there, and missing out on quality of life because all I do is work. Sure. You know, so it's it's a decision I made, but you know, sometimes I sit back and be like, damn, I miss working at a bar or at a restaurant, getting off work at a normal hour, smoking some weed and watching TV and being a human, because I'm on pure robot. And not only do I own 13 businesses, but I really work and run every one of those motherfuckers. From the clothing line, I come up with the concepts, the inspiration for all the designs that's coming. I approve everything. I approve the samples of the clothing. For the paper company, I mean, all the R&D, the design, for the water, for the herb, for the music. For the most part, I do everything myself.
How do you balance your time? One of the biggest things, that's even, something that is very hard for people to find time to be productive. Yeah,
it's hard. I use my Instagram kind of like real estate, and I look around. I'm like, okay, what's missing out of here? What am I not promoting? I look at my day. What am I not working on? So I don't really have a lot of time to really balance. I just somehow I know what needs attention, and I may be spread thin on some of the companies, but I've been able to keep up. Workaholic, workhorse.
You know, is it true you turned down $800 million to buy your companies?
Yeah.
Did you? Hold on one second, because I got to think about this for a second. How the fuck did you just say no, or you said let me think about it and get back? Because how do you make a decision to say no?
Yeah, I mean, look, it still fucks with me. I mean, I had to think about it for a while, but I'll give you guys some game because this is such a good interview. I never really talk about business like this, but I want people out there to be motivated, and I want people out there to know that like the first deal is not the best deal. I cannot wait to write my book about it. I want to write a book. You
should.
I'm gonna write a book called The Best Deal. And so, all right, I get offered $800 million for cookies in general, the whole thing. But a lot of it's stock from a Canadian LP, a private Canadian company that's on the stock market. I looked at it like this. If the first deal I got was $800 million and it's mostly stock, and the stock game could be like great and then drop, and everyone's going public right now, what would happen if I turned it down? That damn near makes me pretty much a boss to do that. So instead of taking $800 million, I took $10 million in cash for 10% of my company as a friends and family round to invest into infrastructure. And the next round we're evaluated at $400 million, and I'll probably take a small investment at that. I'm gonna build it up. And while everyone else is getting bought out right now with Canadian stock, they may win, but I'm in it to get cashed out for real, because I don't want some stock. I don't want to have to learn how to sell stock or wait and play that game. I want one of the big alcohol companies when it's time to come cash me the fuck out.
As they should.
I want Heineken to come cash me out. I want Southern Wine to come cash me out. I want them to come with that check because they got it. Constellation just put $400 million into Canopy up there in Canada. They put a check. Well, they could have came and bought me for No, I'm sorry. I'm high as fuck. $4 billion. Canopy just got $4 billion. We're talking about a publicly traded company in Canada that doesn't have the most revenue. I think the revenue was negative a lot or whatever it was. They don't have hella money. They just have the brands. So I'm building a house of brands. It's going to be like Facebook. And when they come, they're going to have to buy us. And I would much rather a Constellation come give me $4 billion. I'll look at that $800 million like, thank God I didn't do it. Or maybe I won't. But that's the risk I was willing to take.
Hey, listen, that's when you really think about that shit, that's okay, yes, but what you're in for the long haul.
I'm in it for the long haul, and I felt like we would have lost a lot of control if we took that 800. It's out of my hands if I sell it.
Sure. What growing up, you hustled a lot, even just working regular jobs you spoke about. But what's something over the time that you bought with your own money that you felt like, wow, like not the dumb shit. You can mention the dumb shit, but what's something?
My house.
Okay.
Yeah, my house.
Yeah.
My house is dope. I put a lot of money into it. It feels good. It's mine. I own it.
For sure.
I could build a crazy paranoid bunker with cement and steel and air. I could do whatever the fuck I want to do. It's my house. It's tight. For sure.
What's the best thing you like about your house?
That my daughter's fucking happy as hell there.
There you go.
She loves her room and she loves the vibe over there, and she loves her house, and that's all I wanted.
Now, you ever get to a point where you because you seem like somebody who's very level-headed, where you may have spent some money foolishly. You ever, it's funny because I think of you like I love your taste, like, and I said this even to Scott Storch, and shouts to Scott. I know you did a whole album
Shout
with
to
him.
Scott, that's my brother for sure.
Actually, what does somebody like Scott Storch working with mean? What did that mean to you?
I felt like I was working with Dr. Dre, but even better because I was able to kick it with him, and he's a human sample. I tell him, flip me this, he'll make it right there on the spot, 10 times better, and no one will ever know what we flip.
With the cigarette in the hand.
With the joint and a cigarette in the hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying with you, when you think about money, sometimes like I told Scott, and like I'm telling you, man, it's like I feel like you guys like know, like you can't buy fresh, you can't buy like classy shit.
Yeah.
A guy like you sit down, order a 5-pound lobster, bring out the best wine. you can't, even though you could buy it, it takes a lot to know about it.
Yeah.
You know? Did you ever spend some money on some shit where you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
It's on my neck right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
You know, I spent $50,000 on this chain right here on the goat chain, and I bought it right before I came to New York. But it's a great investment. It's been a topic of conversation, and you know.
Why'd you buy a goat chain?
Just to kind of shit on competition a little bit. You know, the people trying to swagger jack right now. Let them know you're dealing with the goat, and anytime you choose to try to play me, you're coming against the goat that has many things up my sleeve. And I felt like, you know, I ain't spoiled myself. I just paid $2.8 million in taxes. Damn near cleared
Uncle
my
Sam.
bank account. You know
Uncle
what I mean?
Sam,
And
man.
I did that. I was like, I'm definitely going to drip myself up. And now I kind of regret it. But, you know, at the end of the day, bro, rappers got to do rapper shit sometimes.
You know, I remember you saying that, you know, listening to that feds used to pull you off the plane and shit like that. Why was that? Like, is that just because of, like, were you growing up in the Bay and knowing you? Or?
I was working for one of the, you know, first dispensary. I was working for a big dispensary in Northern California, and they were watching it. And they were watching my owner, and they thought I was just bringing cash back and forth. Or, you know, I don't really know what tipped them on, but my lawyer told me, like, they got a hard on for you. So if you were doing anything, I'd recommend that you don't do it. And that's that.
I love this album. It's called RICO.
Yeah.
And I love it most importantly because of the Italian shit that, you know, growing up, a RICO case was never good, man. But,
it's not.
Yeah.
I've tried to scare the homie straight with this album.
What's this album talking about, man, RICO?
Man,
Who's on it?
You know, I got Bone Thugs and Harmony. I got DJ Paul, DJ Quick. I got the Jacker, rest in peace. I got Cameron, Jim Jones, Cocaine, Kevin Gates, Chronics from Jamaica. I got a lot of people. Albums talking about where I'm at in life right now, in business. You know, real life shit. You know, motherfuckers talking too much on the internet and showing their every move and their plays. Album got a lot of good content on there. I think I covered all bases. It's good body of work. 24 records on there. So.
Internets need to fuck with that, man. Let me tell you something. I want the internet's listening to, if you're ever in San Francisco, if you're ever in Seattle. Well, first of all, just where could they go on, you know, was it Instagram, you know, you're on there, or is multiple different accounts?
Yeah, so Instagram is real simple. Berner 415, BERNER 415. That's Instagram and Twitter. Hit me up, man. If you're ever in the Bay, pull up to the Cookie Store on Hayes Street. If you're in LA, pull up to Cookies Melrose, Cookies Maywood, and come fuck with your boy, man, for real.
You know, when you sit back and you think about it, right? What do you want the Berner legacy to be?
I just want to live forever. So when I pass away, I want people to still enjoy my herb, listen to my music. I just want to be kind of like how Pablo Escobar is, even though he wasn't positive, his picture's still his face all over the walls of Colombia. How John Lennon is still looked at, Jimi Hendrix, how Pac. You know, I may not be known for my music, but if I could be known for something I created or put in the world, and it could still be used when I'm gone, and people be like, oh, that's, you know, so-and-so, that's the goal.
You know, what's the highest that you ever been, bro?
Probably with Wiz Khalifa and Juicy J off a bong hit with some hash.
What?
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I was actually going to ask you that. What was it like being in the studio with Wiz and Juicy J? And it's so funny that you fucking, what the fuck? This guy's reading my mind over here.
It was crazy. I mean, we just took a bong rip with some hash in it, and Wiz went to take a nap, and me and Juicy J were like really awkwardly quiet in the room. I looked over at him. He looked over at me. He's like, man, I fucking gotta call the fucking ambulance. I feel high as fuck. I'm like, God damn it, I feel the same fucking way too. And he was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, man, my fucking heart's beating through my fucking chest. He's like, oh, fuck, this is fucked. And we were just both venting to each other like how bad we felt, and it ended up going away. And I don't know why, because it was not the most weed I've ever smoked, but it's just a weird high. It was weird.
I know you mentioned that people, edibles, it's funny with edibles. And because you know what's funny about edibles? I know you mentioned that they sell really well. But the crazy thing about edibles is people don't respect edibles. And what I mean by that is so many times you hear somebody say, like, yo, I took 2, nothing happened, so I took another one. Like, why do people, like, it's like people know the law with those shits, like, of how it works.
Yeah, I'm not taking no edibles because it's a body high, and you can't turn that off really easily. You're going to feel that shit all through your body where you're not used to feeling that.
Speaking of Sean Price, I remember he was in L.A. talking about, you know, I was dying laughing. He told me the story that he was on a plane, he took an edible, and he couldn't stop scratching. He wanted to rip his whole arm off. And he was bugging.
He felt that shit.
Now I know you mentioned that you had to bring some people to like hospitals and shit like that.
Yeah, a couple popular artists. Some might be out from this way too. But yeah,
okay,
motherfuckers said they had to go to the hospital off that shit. I told them don't go, but they had to go.
You know, as we wind this episode down, you mentioned your daughter, and you said she's 11 years old. You know, now, growing up and being somebody who's so passionate about the weed game and being out there, like somebody like me, like. You know, it's a little bit different than somebody in the Bay Area or where weed is legal.
Yeah.
Would you be okay if she was smoking weed when she got older?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. If she, you know, she's on the right track and she's not on some bullshit and she's not like just not doing something with her life. But of course I'd be okay with it because, you know, I think it's a great thing and I'd rather her be open with me or anything she does. And I'd rather her be a smoker than a drinker or doing stupid drugs. And already at 11-year-old, she has her own clothing line and she does a lot of community work and gives back to people and brings kids to fucking Giants games and does cool shit with her mom and with her company. And she's a little star on her own, but it's a positive ass message. She's preaching women equality and stuff like that at 11 years old. So if she smokes weed, she's going to be on some genuine hippie shit. She's not going to be dirtbagging and getting bad grades. And if she isn't, I'll get on her head about it. But yeah, I wouldn't mind at all.
You know, you mentioned we spoke about, you know, being a separated dad. I know she lives with you, right?
Yeah, my daughter, she shares, you know, and I moved her mom a couple blocks away and it's perfect. She can walk to my house. I go, you know, just fucking the goals.
Yeah, now that's a good separation. Sometimes it's hard if somebody goes a little bit farther away. Yeah. But you know, I will say this: if any advice I could give, you know, I mean, she's 11, so it's like you're almost there. I'm only on 7 years more than you. But you know, you spoke about not being there all the time, and the best thing that you could ever do is, I feel like that has worked for me. Is just your presence, and I always say that, you know, I always use this example. You know, I sat down with Lil Boozy before me in Combat, rest in peace, and I remember him saying like, "Yo, when I was locked up, you know, my kids had iPads, they had iPhones, they had this," and I was like, "But Boozy, they didn't have you." Yeah, and he understood what I meant. And I always preach. And tell people, and people live this lifestyle. I love that I'm able to put this out there for years. Is presence over presence, because your presence will be the best gift. Like her just being around you will be worth more than
it's actually what keeps me balanced. You know, so we have a lot of great memories, and every time I'm in town, we spend that quality time together. And she actually stays in my house a little more than her mom's, which is cool. And we do vacations every year to Hawaii, where we go for 2 weeks and we just digest and really enjoy each other's times. And that's my homie, for real, best friend.
That's beautiful, man. Blessings to you with that. Listen, if somebody's listening now who you know, wants to start a business, or maybe is you know, not sure what to do, or confused, or smoking weed and be like, yo, I need to fucking do something more with my life than what I'm doing. What's some advice you would have for them?
Man, invest in yourself. Put your own money behind yourself, and, you know, anything is possible. And if you're going to, you know, if you want to do something, do it. You know, there's nothing to it but to do it. I didn't know anything about clothes. I didn't know anything about water. I didn't know anything about a lot of the companies I have now. It's something I wanted to do. I took my money and I put it into it, and I've seen it through. And if you're going to do it, start it, see it through.
Let me tell you something, man. I said it before, I'll say it again. You're a classy but creative dude. I love that we're going to lead the internets with a quote that says, if you know, there's nothing to it but to do it, you know?
That's it, man. You just got to do that shit, bro. You got to, you know, be creative, be innovative, and don't be scared to put your money behind yourself, because once you do it, you're going to feel that pressure and you're going to fucking work hard.
Shouts to my brother Steve Lobel. Shouts to the Bay Area.
Shouts to the Bay Area, San Francisco, California, stand up.
Shouts to all the Berner fans, and I hope that they appreciate that they get to know a little bit more about Berner.
Yeah, you know, for the Berner fans that listen, and to the people that haven't listened, I told my brother here some things I've never told anybody. So, you know, I hope you enjoy the knowledge.
Berner, all the best to you.
Much love, my brother.
Peace,
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Internets, if you enjoyed that episode, I want you to email me at thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com. Again, that email is thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought. And listen, all my advertisers out there, all my big businesses, my small businesses, whoever, a friend, a store, you want to advertise on The Premium Pete Show? Email me at thepremiumpeachshow@gmail.com, and let's get working. Okay? Make sure you subscribe, rate, leave a comment on all streaming platforms of the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you next episode.